5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, from a very sunny northern South Africa, middle of the summertime here, and you're on a live sunset safari here in the Kruger National Park, the western fringes thereof. We're in Djuma and Arathusa, which are two small reserves on the western edges of the Sabi Sands. It's a collection of private reserves in the Greater Kruger National Park. My name is James Henry. On camera we have Tebs. Hello, Tebs. And Tebs, of course, is an important day for him. It is his birthday. He is 27 years old now. Tebs, happy birthday to you again. On the other vehicle, we've got Brent Leo Smith driving at high speed. He's being filmed by Andrew, and in the final control we have Louise Pavard on the vocals, and on the keys we've got Nikki Austin. We are on a live safari, like I say, so if you've stumbled across this website on what is for us a Sunday afternoon, please ask us questions. Hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. We'll get to you as soon as we can, and questions at WildEarth.tv. Your questions about the animals that we see around here will be answered live. Quite an astonishing technological achievement about which I have very little understanding. But you are most welcome, and lovely to have you with us. Just look around here. We've got a whole lot of buffalo. We've got a whole lot of wildebeest, little baby wildebeest there, just a few days old. And Janet on Twitter, you are very pleased because there's water being pumped into the pan. Yes, Janet, that is good. It is good from a game viewing point of view. There are certainly some questions over its ecological efficacy, but we won't worry about that too much right now. And you can see the little ones there playing just down below. Just a few days old, and then the rest of them are all, if you sort of pan around here, you can see the rest of them there in the clearing, standing, some of them sitting in the shade, and some of them just lying out in the open. And one of the advantages of having so few lions around here at the moment is that these young wildebeest will probably get to an age where they're far better able to run away from lions and defend themselves, because so often, especially in the Sabi Sands where there are not a lot of wildebeest, as soon as these little calves are born, the lions have an absolute field day. And some, I've seen up to 80% of them not make it through to the next year, and that's why the numbers don't tend to increase a huge amount. Because of the upheavals of the area, because the Birmingham boys have created such trouble here. Ooh, look what's coming. Look what's coming. I'm just going to sit right here. I'm not going to move unless I feel we absolutely have to. That elephant is a little bit nervous of us. Oh, look, it's chasing the baby wildebeest. Maybe the legend of elephants being afraid of mice is in fact true. You know what I'm going to do? Just while Tebs quickly shows you this enormous elephant coming with a stick stuck on its head. That's quite amusing. I'm just going to move forward because I think I don't want to frighten them away from having a drink. And I think you can see they're a little nervous. Well, here we go. They may be okay. Okay, I'm just going to be very quiet. This is spectacular. I just need to turn on this virtual reality rig. That is a big elephant there, and that's a bull elephant there, this one looking at us. I need to be recording this. Very quiet here at the moment. These elephants are very close, and I don't want to irritate them or frighten them by talking too loudly. And I'm Ashley in Missouri. I will get back to your question. This animal that we're looking at now, the big chap, is a bull. And he is obviously following the herd. There could well be an estrus female within this herd, but you can see how he is substantially larger than the others. This is just spectacular. Isn't this awesome? Wildebeest off to the left. We've got buffalo in front of us here. We've got buffalo in the water, and the magnificent herd of elephants sitting here. Huge. Now, one of these cows is an estrus. Must be. Now, when we see elephants, we know they're big. And we normally see herds of elephants which don't have a big bull with them. And you can see the size of this bull compared with the others. It is astonishing. He's drinking straight out. You can see that he's drinking straight out of the fountain, straight out of where the clean water is being pumped. Elephants like to drink clean water, and you can see the ones in the pan actually flinging mud on themselves. They're not drinking. And the mud will cool them down, help them to get rid of parasites. It's just beautiful. That's amazing. And he's dominating that little spring there. This is so amazing. And just for the benefit of the virtual reality rig, which is also recording here, they of course can see 360 degrees. So I'm going to ask Tebs to stay on the elephants there, and I'm just going to point out a few things for the virtual reality rig. Wildebeest to the left-hand side, Nyala far left, more wildebeest in front left, and then buffalo straight front. As we pan round there, there's some Nyala down in the dip, more buffalo there, some more wildebeest in the far right-hand foreground, and then of course these magnificent elephants here, a herd of elephants, and a huge bull drinking the clean water there. Turn the VR rig off so I can concentrate a bit. There's even a zebra. I'm not going to get Tebs to point it out to you, but there is a zebra way across the other side here. So let's just count the number of species. We've got zebra, we've got elephant, we've got buffalo, we've got nyala, we've got impala in the distance, we've got wildebeest, we've got... What else have we got? I think that's probably about it, but that's not a bad going. 6 species of mammal here. And I bet if you looked... Oh, here we go. I bet if you look close enough, you'll probably find yourself a bush buck or two as well. Now, every time they get... Now, look, they've gone quiet. They've gone completely quiet. I'm sure they're speaking to each other. Oh, look at the little one lying down there. Did you see the little one here lying down? It's rolling in the mud. Now, there's no question that they all want to have a drink. But because the bull is dominating the clean water, I suspect that the others are going to have to drink at the Gallagher waterhole, which is just the other side of the camp. turn this VR rig back on. There's a recalcitrant Russian talking in my ear, telling me that we have to get more of this. I'll explain what I mean by the VR rig just now. Come on, start. There we go. This is spectacular stuff. Right, so now we have to sync it. I won't be clapping in front of the elephants. There we go. This is just so spectacular. Oh, and the one there is just trying to smell us. Tibbs is just saying the trunk, at least not the trunk, the tusk is broken there. You can see this bull has got a broken tusk. Now, while he is very large, he is not as large as some. So I would put him at roughly 25 years old. He's an adult bull, but they do get bigger, and he's not, he's quite slight almost. He doesn't filled out quite. His tusks are not particularly big, but that doesn't mean much. They won't necessarily get very big. In fact, they probably won't. But elephant bulls, or all elephants, keep growing until the day they die. So him pushing the youngster out the way there. And they won't. I think the little bull, he's a young bull, this one, on the left-hand side there, that was just being pushed. And I don't know if that little head shake was for us or if it was for the big bull who was pushing him. This is just incredible. Just listen carefully, everybody. I think there's a... sounded like a Nyala alarm calling. No, there doesn't seem to be a great deal of panic anywhere. All the wildebeest is still very calm over there with their babies and buffalo in front. You see the elephants to the right-hand side where you're watching them. We might just have to sit here all day. He's got a bit of a scratch on his inner thigh. Just to give you an idea of how close that bull is, he's probably about 10 meters from us, 33 feet. So not far at all. And this one, Tibbs, this one here is definitely having a look at us. Just watching us. They are inquisitive elephants, especially when they're a bit younger. So this one's just checking out what we want. It looks like a cow to me. Very straight, rapier-like tusks. Yeah, definitely a female. Now, this elephant, of course, the big elephant's got a broken tusk there, and Donna in South Carolina, you want to know if that, I think it would hurt him. Yes, I definitely think it would hurt him when it broke off. Tusks are like teeth, well, they are teeth, and they've got enormous nerves in them. And I'm sure when that broke off, it hurt quite a lot. And he would have been a very recalcitrant, angry elephant for a while, and it's much better to stay away from an elephant that's just broke his tusk, because they can be very upset indeed. Look at this thing scratching the edge of his ear. Her ear, sorry, that's definitely a cow. Now, Andrine, the biggest Ellie is drinking from the smallest puddle, yes, but he's not actually drinking from the puddle. If you look carefully, you can see he's drinking from the source of the water, from the cleanest part, from where the pipe is pumping nice, cool, fresh, clean water. And unlike the rest of the water, it's not covered in mud, buffalo dung, buffalo urine, hippo dung, wildebeest dung, and all other manner of dung. So he's having a very nice, the chivalry is well dead in this elephant herd, and the bull is monopolizing all forms of good, clean water. And the rest of them are waiting their turn. Some of them have tried to have a drink there, and he's chased them off. This is just an incredible sighting. That they will allow us to be this close to them and not react to us is so special. Of course, we need to be careful. We need to be constantly vigilant and aware as to what's going on. And if they give us any warning signs that they feel uncomfortable, then we should react appropriately. At the moment, they seem to be very comfortable with us. Sharon, you're obviously a regular watcher, and you know that Peter, the hippopotamus, has been in and out of this pan. And Sharon, you reckon that all the animals are quite glad he's not here. No, he was actually pretty good about letting the buffalo lie next to him, and I think he did chase the odd thing away. The hippo, at least the elephants, probably wouldn't have tolerated him, so they're probably quite glad he's not here. But you can see the remnants of where he's been. And we'll show you that when these elephants move off. There's a great big pile of hippopotamus muck in the middle of this pan. There you can see it. Just in the middle there, that is a whole lot of basically hippopotamus detritus. Yuck. This is now take 3 of this virtual reality rig. Ashley in Missouri, a very nice question to all animals started drinking water from such an early age, or just the horned ones. It's got nothing to do with the horns, actually. It's got everything to do with what they eat and how mobile they are. So definitely the carnivores will not start drinking water anything like as early as the wildebeest. That's because they're totally altricial. You see the little one lying down in the bottom there, a pile of elephants there. Very safe in the middle, and the herd is protecting it as it lies down there, and incredible that none of them stand on it. You know, actually, the altricial means that they're born helpless, unable to see, hardly, well, they don't have teeth either when they're born, I don't think, little lions. And, well, they're probably born with very small teeth, but they certainly are unable to move, and they're definitely very blind. And so they don't drink water until they absolutely need to, a bit like human babies, which don't have to drink water for a long time. It's just purely milk to start with. Now, the more precocial, so the more developed the baby is, the sooner it will start eating its adult food, like grass in the case of wildebeest, and the sooner it will start drinking water. There's always a slight edge in a sighting like this. We are very close to the elephants. And so I'm constantly looking vigilantly from side to side. Just making sure that everyone's relatively comfortable with us. We did get here first, and so they approached us, and so that was good. Sneaking in underneath the bull. So you've changed the angle there, and you're now looking through the Juma Dam cam, So you can see us in the foreground and the elephants in the background, and it must look, I would imagine from that angle, it must look like the elephants are virtually sitting on Tebs's lap. And it is a slight, it's a slight trick. It's basically, I think it's called a compressed shot, and it just looks, they will look like they're in the car, but they're not quite. They're about, like I say, the closest one's probably about 20 feet away. It's just spectacular stuff. Such fun, this. The bull is being very selfish indeed. He's doing a little bit of watching us as well. I think he's quite enjoying sort of having a drink and checking us out at the same time. Watch the way the bull's standing now. You see how he lifted his foot there? He's going to be very, very careful with him now. There we go. He is now looks, and he's now going to have a wee, basically in the car. Is he okay? Mm-hmm. There's another elephant coming now. He is massive. Not the one coming, this one. That is absolutely huge. Now he's leaking urine. That wasn't a proper pee. And he's basically leaking. He's probably coming into a state that we call musth. Look how they all get out of his way. He's so big. And musth is their time of mating. The testosterone levels go through the roof and they become very kind of irritated with life. There are a few of them trying to get a bit of a drink there, but every time he shakes his head, they move out of the way very quickly. Interestingly, that urine doesn't smell like that. That musky urine smells very strong. Have moved off behind us. There. I think this is a young bull there, Tebs. I think that's a young bull, and I don't think that he's much too nervous to come and try and drink when this big chap's here. Now, Big Dave, you are testing my mathematical skills here, because then I can smell that urine, that musty urine. It's got a pungent, musky smell. It's a sort of quite sweet, but quite sort of odorous. There's another elephant coming. Tebs, you can see on the damn wall there. Way over the back of this big one. And this young bull here is now chasing the wildebeest off. I think it's Big Dave. You don't know how many gallons that elephant will drink in one sitting. Well, 4 liters, or basically 1 gallon per trunkful. And you've seen him drink about 20 or 30 trunkfuls. That's quite a few gallons. I would say probably about 20 gallons, just under that. Or maybe 20 gallons in one sitting, which is quite a lot. He's also not drinking at all. He's kind of taking half trunkfuls. I think he's trying to monopolize the water because he's being a bit territorial about life. He is absolutely gargantuan. He is a huge animal. There's another one right here coming past us. This is a young bull. He's the one that came up from behind, and he's just trying to avoid the attentions of the adult here, of the really big bull. If they start to get into kind of conflict situation, then I will move. around what's going on behind us. Also that you can see is that possibly is that the sky is changing colour. There seems to be a storm blowing in. I'll believe that when I see it actually open up. But the sky is turning quite nice and grey above us. Now, sorry, if we can go back to the big chap here, he's watching carefully the other elephant, which has gone off. It's kind of gone off into the shade behind us. Everyone, I would move the car and change the angle slightly, but I think starting the engine is just going to make everyone a little bit upset, so I'm going to leave the engine stopped for now, and we're just going to have to crane our necks a bit. And just to put the recalcitrant Russians' mind at rest, the VR rig is on. I just need to quickly ask them, and I'm going to do that through you, as to whether I should stop it every 8 minutes and then carry on, or just let it run. Look how he's put his trunk over his tusk. That's a classic Musth behaviour. Might be able to feel the wind starting to blow a bit now as the storm gathers in the northern sky. Here comes some impala. Shame they're not going to get a look in here at the moment. Now I need to sync the VR rig. Here we go. I don't need to turn it off. Yes. Now, apparently the Russian is happy, everybody. Thank goodness for that. Just over there, this bull here. Now, if you were to see him on his own, you would be massively impressed by his size. He's not small at all, but he is nothing like the same size as the big chap standing to the right-hand side of your screen. It's difficult to know where to look at this stage. This is where the VR rig, of course, is ideal, because you can look anywhere you like. You see the wildebeest behind us, the buffalo in front, impala coming up from the back. That's a really good thing that you pointed out, or interesting thing. You say the big bull's tail is, of course, now hiding it. Looks like it's got a kink in it, and maybe it was broken as a youngster. Yeah, it could well have been broken as a youngster. Look at this big chap here. Little one. Well, look at this chap. He's right close by now. He's about 4 feet from the front of the car. So close to us, I feel like I want to reach out and touch him, but that would be silly, so I won't do that. He's not quite close enough for that either. Isn't that wonderful? Now he's just watching us very carefully. He doesn't pose a threat at his age. He's just checking us out. Look at his teeth, look at his tusks. That's a great view of them. It's a wonderful view of how they erupt from the mouth. Those are incisor teeth. So you just touch your 2 front teeth. That's the equivalent, the 2 front teeth that you have in your mouth. Hello, fella. Keeping an eye on what else might arrive here. monopolizing all the clean water, which is very ungentlemanly of him. And they're all trying to get in on the act there, but the big bull is being very selfish about it. There goes the little one trying to get in there. Ah, Ted's has spotted another elephant coming in from the back. I'm just going to assess the size of this one. If this is a particularly large one, then we will probably move a little bit just to get a bit of distance between us in case there is a conflict. He doesn't want to be caught in between the battle of the titans, of course. Oh, what a big elephant. This little one is showing his displeasure at our presence. That's a pretty substantial bull coming up here, and he's covered in mud. He's found himself some proper mud somewhere. Is that as this big fellow comes up here, trying to move fast from where I am now is going to be difficult because the young bull is basically doing himself a one-man virtual reality rig show. There he is. He's not showing any signs of going anywhere. He's basically just watching us, I think, mainly for his entertainment. And now the Russian is going to be very upset because one of his cameras has run out of battery. Sorry, Alex. The big bull has stopped there. You can just see him stopped behind there. Chap here. Look at this thing right here. Look at that amazing picture of his trunk just wedged in there, resting against the tusk. There we go. Don't touch those GoPros, see? You just leave them alone. There we go. All right. Before the afternoon disappears completely on us, let's head across to Brentley Smith. Apparently he also has some elephants with him, and I'm going to sit right here, mainly because I don't want to disturb the elephants. We'll see you in just a little while.
So, unfortunately, our elephants aren't behaving as energetically as James is, but nice to be with them anyway. My name is Brentley Smith. I have Andrew Francis on camera with me, and we're with a little breeding herd of elephants resting in the shade of a beautiful large scotia, or a weeping boer bean. And it's not uncommon to see elephants on a really hot day, just sort of standing in the shade of a tree, not moving too much, flapping their ears. Also, if you're lucky, you'll catch them close to a waterhole behaving like they are with James.
That one has something on his trunk.
No, on his nose there. Looks like he's got a little wound on his nose. Nothing too serious. Young male and mom. Probably a little wound from a bit of a tussle with an older elephant. A little play tussle. Might do some dust bathing, although it seems like too much effort in this heat for this big female. We hear a few other elephants around. Just going to idle forward a little bit. female got a fright. Oh yes, sorry little girl. And unlikely that this is the mother of both of those animals. They're too close in age. So I'm sure there's some more elephants hiding in the shade somewhere else. You can see everything's back to relaxed now. Yeah, looks like quite an old female. You can see from the depressions in her head. And if we look at her right hand ear, she's actually got some holes in it. Perfect little holes. Thankfully, a bit of a strong breeze coming to try and bring the temperature down a bit. And then, which one do you want?
Small one.
So you saw she just briefly scratched her ear, and the holes are on the outside there. You can see in a little bit. So in the hot parts of Africa, like we are here. Not an uncommon sight at all to see Ellie standing in the shade. So an elephant's tusks are definitely its teeth, are modified teeth. And Wayne would like to know, are they modified canines? Well, Wayne, normally your browsing or grazing species, your herbivores, do not have canines. They're just modified teeth. But I suppose if you had to compare them to us or predator, it would be modified canines. Now, they'll probably rest here for quite a while before heading off to the closest watering point, because I can't see any sign that they've drunk recently. There's no dark patches around their feet or trunk from water. Giving us a little sniff. There you can see the holes in the female's ear. Oh, and then she starts flapping again, of course. This is sort of the elephant equivalent of a midday siesta. Sometimes the young ones will lie down on their sides, especially on these hot days.
Close and high.
I can hear some more elephants in the distance, and you can see those wrinkles on the elephant's hide. Look at her eyes. Wonderful lashes. So I know you guys can see something small and white crawling on her trunk. Unfortunately, I don't have a monitor today. So I can't. I'll try to look in my binoculars, but I think it still might be a little bit far for that. Whereabouts on the trunk from the tusks?
Right next to the left eye.
Oh, it looks like a little... I'm not sure what it is. Probably... It looks worm-ish. if we go to the little female, now it all of a sudden looks like she's been in the water. What she's done is she's mixed dust with her snot and sprayed herself to cool down. Here she's smelling us again. So you saw as an elephant lifted its trunk to smell us, a brief visual of a little pink tongue. And Donna in South Carolina was wondering whether that was the Ellie's tongue, and it is Donna. But I don't think these elephants are going to move too much, and we're going to move along. See what else we can find. There is a report of wild dog to the north of us. But they are sleeping. Oh, sorry guys, it's okay. Okay. They're not moving. See, very important not to rush off when an elephant does that. They will chase the car. If you do, you must just keep still, let the engine run, and they go back to being nice and relaxed. Bye-bye, Eddies. Now we need to find our way back to the road. It is beastly warm today. All sensible animals sitting in the shade. We are, of course, not sensible animals, but we will try to find some. In Florida. Afternoon cat. 1 second, just got to be on the game drive. Standing by. Copy, thanks, buddy. I know James was following up on alarm calls around for the fella. Andrew has managed to fix my monitor. We're not sure how, but it is working, so I can see what the camera is seeing again. And as you can see, sorry, 1 second. I'm not sure, Scottish. I started feeling a little bit left out. James has been using the VR rig, so Andrew and I rigged our own specialized, highly sophisticated second camera. Unfortunately, we don't have 7, we've only got 1. But Andrew and I have been playing a little bit around with some stuff, and we're going to co-produce a video. We'll see how it comes out. Just saw an Nyala come across the road here, but I think he disappeared into the shade like a sensible beast. Got a very interesting question. Carol would like to know whether we take salt pills for the heat. I've never heard of such a thing, Carol, and I'm far too tough to ever consider taking one. I don't. Andrew, do you take salt pills for the heat?
Salty biscuits.
Salty biscuits. I think that's not going to help with dehydration, though. No, we don't, Carol. We drink a lot of water. On a hot afternoon safari like this, I think we'll probably go through 2.5 liters of water each. So no, we don't take salt pills. We have access to nice clean drinking water, so no need. And even then, when I've done trips into the deserts and stuff like that, I've never taken such things with me. You do get these things called rehydrates. There's been quite a lot of research in that, and when you are dehydrated, the best thing for you is just good old H2O. So I know the tracks of a female leopard crossed our boundary here this morning. I'm just going to go have a look on the Sibambili boundary. Maybe she continued through to the south. Almost seems to be being burnt at the moment. You can see it's losing some of its green luster. Looking quite forlorn. Harbour up ahead. Is wondering where the wonderful Jamie is. Is she on leave or is she still feeling sickly? She is on leave, and her parting gift to me was to give me a cold, so thank you, Jamie. But she will be cool. There we go. Not very relaxed elephant. Body language told me from far away, so we're not going to go close. You can see them. Ears were out. They immediately moved away from us when we got here. So we didn't leave those. At least see the erect tail, a very good sign that an elephant is not in the best mood to be approached. So we're not going to hassle those in, just let them move off the bushes. It's so strange. Well, no, I suppose it's not strange. Sometimes an Eddie's in a bad mood. And we've got some little impalas running off there. Oh, there's an elephant with a tiny baby. She looks to be in a far better mood. Across, oh, there's a lot of elephants. I think maybe those ones on the edge just got a little bit of a fright. The rest of the Eddie seems very relaxed. Little ones. That one's not as little as that one. Hello, Mama. Come to see your offspring. Look at that. Look how small and cute he is. Tiny, tiny. Probably about a month old. Still sticking really close to Mom. And you hear her talking to the other elephants in a low rumble. lot of that audio is far below what we can. I'm just going to move forward again. Here, and that baby is very, very young, so I'm not going to push limits, and it's almost a impenetrable wall that we'd have to get through to stay with that Ellie. She's very relaxed, she's not moving away because of us, but we don't want to cause any distress, especially to a little elephant, give them any bad memories of vehicles. So look at that. Hello, elephants. There's a little youngster just behind those two adults. Might pop into view shortly. Amazing, even when they're feeding, how quiet they can be. Marianne in Arkansas would like to know whether I think an elephant resting its trunk on its tusk is similar sort of to a person crossing their arms or putting their hands on their hips. I would say not, because generally both of those movements are not the sort of positive movements. If you cross your arms at someone or put your hands on your hips, you're annoyed with them. But with an elephant, I think it's just relaxing. It's more sort of leaning your head against your fist, maybe. Look at that. Munch, munch, munch. On the bush willows, looks like the little one's going to pop out. There we go. Not quite as young as the other. Probably about a year old. Hello, little man. Isn't this wonderful and peaceful, just relaxing on a Sunday afternoon with a herd of elephants. Roy? Okay, well, let's leave these ellies and go see what else we can find. Behave yourself. Please forgive me, I got distracted by the radio earlier. Watch out that big hole behind us, Andrew. Are we good? Good, yeah. And I forgot to answer your question. Cat would like to know at what age does tusks start growing. Well, cat, they have milk tusks or tushes that fall out at about a year, and then their main tusks start growing then. Nope. Little grass. You sit there, Andrew? Look at that. Tiny little grass spider of some kind. I'm not sure which kind of spiders. I think my next mission after IDing all the butterflies is to ID all the spiders. And I just felt him crawling on my leg. There you can see. You can see how intricate all the little patterns on some of these smaller creatures are. This spider might actually give you, not the best, it might be able to bite you with quite a painful bite. Just looking at its body shape. Whoa, off he goes. Speedy Gonzalez. I think, look, he's actually going to balloon. Can you see that there, Andrew? So I wonder if this is one of the balloon spiders. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back. When you see, sometimes when they put their bums up in the air like that, they're spinning web and they're trying to get a bit of breeze to catch it, and they'll float away. That's probably how it came to be on inside the car as well, because we haven't driven through anywhere where we'd really have a spider fall on us yet. He's busy eating his web up. So it's a parachute spider, sometimes they're called. Oh no. And look at that. There we go. You can. I can just make out the little parachute it's trying to make. Oh, it's got stuck on my finger. Well, the other option is he trying to build a web inside my car? No. Anyway, I think I'm going to release him into the wilds again. Come here. Gotcha. Off you go. Be free. Away from me. So, with a lot of bugs and spiders and stuff like that, the reason a lot of people get bitten or stung by a lot of animals is just because of how they react. So when I felt a creepy crawly crawling up my leg, I didn't immediately go to squish it. I gently removed it. So it's attacking it. If you attack it, it's going to bite you back. So a good trick with bugs is, unless you know exactly what you're trying to squish, like a mosquito, be careful about hitting things. Especially out here, we've got lots of bugs that can spray anything from formic acid to cantharidin. So very important to be a little bit mindful before you whack anything that might crawl on your body. Country chick, warm welcome to SafariLIVE. Would like to know, do Eddies have their own smell? Like dogs or horses? They do. It's a difficult smell to describe, and it's generally like horses. The dung would be more than smelling more than anything else. What would you think it smells like, Andrew? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's very difficult to describe the smell of an elephant. Elephant and rhino smell quite similar, but you can tell, and hippo as well, but you can tell the difference between all three. I would not know how to describe anything. It's quite a fresh smell, especially put down. Oh, we're going to go across to James, who's got a feathered friend.
Now everybody was sitting here following up on some alarm calls from those Nyala we were watching, and we've just come across some francolins. I'm not going to move the car. I know that's not a great picture, but there's some tiny little babies in there. They're on the right-hand side, walking in front of the mother now. There, look. 2 little baby francolins. Very sweet. Crested francolins, and you can see how brilliantly camouflaged they are. There we go. And I mean, I'm enthralled by them, but I'm also just interested to sit here for a little while and listen to see if there aren't any more alarm calls. We drove through the block. The Nyala stopped alarm calling a little while back, and they haven't started again. The only thing I can think of that they must have seen could have been a leopard. I mean, it may have been something that was large as maybe a snake like a python, but I think maybe a leopard. So Scott is going to come into the area. He is tracking at the moment, and with any luck, some time spent on foot in this area will yield results. That, everybody, at the bottom of your screen, I'm afraid, is a piece of the car. We can't avoid that. Sorry about that. They're just going across the road, and I don't think we can see them. Here they come. They're popping up now. There we go. So the second set of twins that we've seen today, of course, the others being the hyenas at the den. And I think one of Brent or I will certainly go back to the den a little bit later to see if we can't see any of those hyenas. Just when it cools down, so in about an hour's time. And there they go. Right, let's see. Hello, Carol. You want to know about salt pills, and do we take them for the heat? A salt pill, as far as I understand it, is like what we'd call a rehydrate. So basically it's a mineral replacement supplement, and if you're sweating a lot, you're not only losing water. The main danger, of course, is that you're losing a lot of minerals and salt. And Carol, no, we don't normally. We have something similar called a rehydrate, which is a sort of packet of salts that we would take, and mixed with sugars and different minerals and things. We might take that if it got really hot. But normally, if you're eating a decent diet, there's enough salt and that sort of stuff in your diet, and as long as you're drinking enough water, dehydration and the lack of minerals isn't normally an issue. Good question. Thank you, Carol. I'm just going to go back around to where those elephants were then. We'll just have a quick look at them. So, hi, Jack. Jack, you're on email. I'm not going to look at you at this moment. I'm just checking to see. I can't see any tracks here. Looks like a predator's track. And unfortunately, it's really not very clear, so indistinct. It'll just look like a patch of sand dune that's been slightly moved. Keep an eye out around here. I'm just going to go back to where those elephants were and just show you what's happened there. The big bull is still there. So Jack, you want to know when the dry season is? The dry season is normally from sort of April time until November. That's the kind of driest. Well, I mean, April doesn't feel dry, but it stops raining in April. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, very little rain at all. September and October, when the heat comes back again, that's when it really starts to look very dry. In November, we normally get some decent rain. Not this November. November, December, January, February would be the wet season. But I mean, wet, it doesn't get very wet at all. keeping a very beady eye out for spotted cats around these parts. Because Big Dave has asked a very valid question. Hello, Big Dave in Florida. You have been watching apparently since early this morning, Eastern time, and you say throughout the day you've been probably watching the Juma Dam cam and you haven't seen that much activity around the waterhole. And is that unusual? Big Dave, it's not that unusual for this time of the year if there hasn't been rain. Now, what you need to remember is that if there is rain, there are a lot of natural pans or natural ponds that will fill up, and because there has been so little rain, those pans and ponds, which would normally supply the water and mud needs of these animals, are empty, they're dry. And so the pumped water that there is here, which is nice and clean and fresh, is going to attract a huge diversity of animals, and you couple that with the fact that this is a clearing. You can see it's very clear around here, not lots of trees. That's great for the wildebeest, especially when they've got those little calves with them, so that's why they're all hanging around here. The elephants could be drinking somewhere else if there was more rain. The buffalo could be lying in other mud puddles if there was more rain. The nyala might be also in the sort of thicker bush, drinking away at more sort of naturally available water, but because of the water situation here, everything is going to concentrate around the freshest water that there is, and that just happens to be in front of our little camera there. This is fascinating stuff. This is a cow now. I wonder if this cow isn't an estrus. So she's the only one of this herd that's hanging around with that big bull. So these are we've seen these elephants already. They're the ones that were drinking at the Juma Dam camp when we started out the drive. And that big bull there is now dripping quite profusely from his nether regions. And that is definitely an indicator that he's in Musth. And this cow is hanging around with him, which is not common. Normally doesn't happen if there's a big Musth bull in the area. They normally sort of try and stay away unless they're an estrus and they're ready to mate. But I mean, she looks almost pregnant to me. She's got a big fat belly on her. So maybe it's just purely coincidence. Now, social structures of mammals are fascinating because they're all different, or many of them are different, and I find that a lot of the questions about them are almost a sort of subtle attempt to, and sometimes not so subtle, to identify with their social structure, to understand them from a slightly human point of view. And Bruce in Philadelphia, you want to know if the elephant family stays together. Once the youngsters are born, do they grow up in the family and then stay in the family? Bruce, I wouldn't describe it as a family, simply because it gives us the impression that it's like a sort of human nuclear family, which it certainly isn't. This cow is now having a nice investigation of us. There's no need for her to come that close. She's definitely just coming to have a look. That's wonderful. So, what will happen is that they're not so much a family. They're in a matriarchal herd, which is led by the females. The females will grow up in a herd of their mother and their aunts and probably some older siblings, and the females will then stay in that herd, and they will remain within what we call the natal herd. She's calling. I don't know if you can hear it, very subtle sort of. She stopped now. I'm not sure what she's calling at though. She isn't calling that bull. Sort of trying to seduce him into the drainage line with her saucy links. A whole lot of them now. No, never mind. All right, so they're in a herd, and it's a matriarchal herd led by the females. The females will stay within their natal herd unless it gets too big, and then they might split off. The more distantly related ones will go and form their own herds. The bulls come 15 or 16 years old. There's another bull there now. 15 or 16 years old, maybe 17 or 18 sometimes, will be excluded from the herd, and they will go off on their own, and they will then live like that bull that we've just watched. Will live on his own, sometimes in a little group of bulls, and the bulls will join up with each other every so often, and then they leave each other, especially when they're in Musth. Back around here and see what's happening. Scott is now on foot in the area there, hopefully sort of finding tracks of Karula within the rut. I'm not going to spend too long with these elephants. Let's just watch what's going on here. This is fascinating stuff. They're coming from a different angle. To do is go to the Warthog Dam and try and follow up an amazing little thickney chick, tiny little bird, hatchling that Scott found this morning, and see if its sibling hasn't hatched. So Wayne, I know you asked a question about that hatchling. We'll go and see just now. So what we have here is quite an interesting little grouping. That's a big bull there. Well, not a big, he's not nearly as big as the other bull, but that is a bull. And I think the others are all young bulls. They'll all be wanting to have a bit of a drink here, but the bigger one will monopolize the fresh water completely. That really big bull was here when this chap that's drinking now came up. But you could see very clearly that he stood back. This bull didn't come up until the bigger one had moved off. And so Scott Burns, you're in Durban, you want to know if they were going to have a tussle? No, I think the other one is so much bigger than this fellow that that's not going to happen. And you can see the others all just kind of keeping their distance away from him, this current one, because at the moment he is dominating the water simply because he's the biggest. And every so often they'll get brave and try and move a little bit closer and then see if they can get a bit of a drink, and then they'll probably be chased away again. Sarah and Maggie, one in Ohio, one in Australia. That couldn't get further away from each other, really, could you? But you've asked the same question. Could they, or when elephants mate, is it a prolonged affair or is it a quick affair? Is it like the cats where it goes on for a week? It's pretty quick. I've never seen it myself, but it does. It sort of probably takes about 10 or 15 minutes, and the interesting thing about it is that because of the way their equipment is situated, so the female's opening is right underneath the body. Unless she is truly interested in mating, it's not possible for the male to mount her. So she really has to stand still and almost reverse into him for there to be any kind of penetration, and then I think it lasts sort of 10 or 15 minutes, and then it's all over. And that's all they have to do. He's not wasting water, he's just monopolizing the fresh stuff. Up there, Tibbs. We're just going to look straight above us. There's a lilac-breasted roller come to say hi. He's come to wish you happy birthday, Tibbs. Beautiful bird. So that flick you saw is just we have to change the what's called an ND filter. It just changes the exposure because obviously the sky is a lot brighter than the ground. Beautiful. See his tail streamers in all the different colours. Apparently 7 different colours on a lilac-breasted roller. Not sure who worked that out. Alrighty, I think let's leave these elephants to have their drink. Let's go and see if we can find something much smaller and more minute. A little water thickney chick hatchling. Dam. Right, we'll leave Scott here. If there were some actual tracks here, if I knew that there were tracks here, then I think we'd hang around here for a while. But let's leave Scott on them, and he can discover what's going on here. We'll go check out the little chick. Just wait 2 minutes. Looks like there might be a bit of a box here. Now these are all bulls, and Heidi, you want to know the age differences between, well, the very biggest one I would have put at about 25 to 30 years old. I'd put this guy at about 20, the big guy on the right-hand side of your screen. The one to the left, I wouldn't put him at much more than 15. And then if you go pan to the right a little, Tibbs, that little chap there is probably not much more than 12. And then, yeah, I'd say maybe even 10. Definitely a bull though. Right, on we go. Let's go and find some little baby birds. That way. Ravi in New York, getting slightly the wrong end of the stick, I'm afraid. You say, are any societies here led by males? It all seems to be females. Hyenas, wild dogs, and elephants. Ravi, elephants and hyenas are led by females. Wild dogs not. That's an alpha male and an alpha female, but the alpha male will take the lead in the hunts, normally. And then, I'm just trying to think what else we would talk about. So, in a lot of societies, there's this kind of sexual separation where, like in Impala, the rams will live in a bachelor herd and the females will live in a herd on their own, but there's no alpha, there's no leader at all. And then we look at wildebeest, they're pretty much the same. Nyala would be similar, that sort of thing. So it's basically only only two matriarchal societies here are the elephants and the hyenas. And I suppose you might say, no, in fact, in the buffalo herd, there definitely wouldn't be any kind of leadership from the females or from the males. It's just kind of it's like a big democracy. So, Rory, just those two. Gracie, aged 8, in Ohio, you say that you love to watch elephants when you're not feeling so good. And they make you smile and make you feel a bit better. Well, I hope this bull here is the same one we've been watching, Gracie. I hope he makes you smile, and I hope you feel better very soon. Alrighty, Gracie, we're going to leave him now. He's going into the bush. I'll try and find you a little chick to look at. Little nestling. Bumpy road. Well, now that is a fascinating turn of events. What's going on there? What have we got? Oh, the big bull. Gracie, that big bull just doesn't want to say goodbye to you, I'm afraid, so he's coming up to say hello here. There are a whole lot more coming through from the other side. He's a very cross elephant now there, Gracie. Go, little one. All right, Gracie, let's leave him now. You can see a little bit across. All the elephants have come through here now, and they're just browsing through. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith, see what he's found, see what he's looking for, and I will see you at Buffelshoek Dam with any luck with a small nestling.
So we're perusing at the southern and western area of Djuma Private Game Reserve at the moment. Nothing yet, still quite warm. There's a bit of respite. There's a bit of a cloud bank that's moved in front of the cloud, in front of the sun. But still definitely very warm. Sorry about that, that's my Arathusa game drive radio. Just listening to see if there are any updates that side. Regina Hart in Pennsylvania would like to know how you get over the heebie-jeebies with touching bugs and spiders and insects and things. Well, I'm not sure, Regina. I think you just decide to. It's the only way I could say it. Start trying to touch ones that you know are completely harmless. It's always a good way to start. Let's check down towards the big Balanites tree, see if there's any on that side. A little bit cooler, I can hear some birds starting to make a noise. Another favorite hangout of the wildebeest. Let's see if we can find that very vocal woodland kingfisher. Hear him, but can we spot him? I can't even hear him now. This is quite interesting. koala by herself calling. Could a leopard have been visiting this area and removed her baby? She's just been separated from the rest of the herd. Let's go have a look. You see any more impala yet, Andrew? Negative, just that one. Where did she dash off to? There. Looking in the trees, Andrew, just in case. Through here, she's gone again. Maybe she's just lost the herd. There you go, Andrew. I can't see where that impala ran off to. Interesting. Let's go have a look through here. While we're doing that, a very big and warm SafariLIVE welcome to Jonathan from New Jersey, who's a new viewer. He says he's a new viewer, but he's already loving it. Great to hear that, Jonathan, and welcome aboard the back of the safari vehicle in deepest, darkest Africa. Okay, well, I've lost this impala officially now. Now I'm halfway through an area with no roads. Now, do we go forward or do we go back? That's the question. Andrew?
Forwards and onwards.
Forwards and onwards. The quote you're looking for is onwards and upwards.
Yes.
Not forwards and onwards.
Can't go up, can we, Ray?
No, we can't. We don't have your drone with us today. So, Eli is wondering, why do we not get springbok in the Kruger National Park? He's only managed to spot impala. The main reason is it's too wet, Eli. They're adapted to more arid climates, and if they live in an area that's a little bit too moist for them, they get foot rot. Their hooves literally fall off. Well, here's the rest of the herd, so I think she's just...
If anyone interested for giraffe, Mankulun Sabi giraffe here, Lameti. They own Mr. 1,
Let's try and get to the last little hurdle, and we're back on the road. Looks like that female just got slightly separated from the herd. Well, this isn't exactly a herd with two boys here. Saw an impala lamb being chased by a hyena this morning at Gallagher Pan. Now wondering whether perhaps this is the same mother. I would say not. We're very far away from there at the moment. So far this afternoon, while we continue to scour the landscape, let's go see what James has done.
Right, everybody, we are driving very gingerly. I think I can see the nest. I can see the dickops. There's the adult dickop there, straight in front of us there. Or thickney as it's called. I can see the egg, I can see the unhatched egg, and I'll show you now where it is. So there's the adult bird. Now I wonder if the little baby isn't around here as well. They are very precocial. They'll get up and move very quickly. Now Tebs, I'm just going to walk over there. If that buffalo starts running towards us, you will let me know, will you? Yeah. Thanks so much. I know it's your birthday. I don't like to strain you too much on your birthday. You see here? See it there? Yeah. Look at that incredible little egg, everybody. So the hatchling that Scott's found had just hatched apparently and was sitting over here earlier. You can't hear me, I don't think. Now you can probably hear me. The hatchling was sitting just over here when Scott came here this morning. This egg has not hatched yet, obviously. And like I say, the ground-dwelling birds are very precocial. They're a bit like impala lambs or nyala lambs. They're born almost fully able to move about the place, and I'm sure the other little one is walking around somewhere here with the parents. Wonderful. I don't want to disturb them too much. They definitely are around here, and I can hear a little kind of cheeping noise, which I don't think you can hear. I'm just going to move this log so that we can drive a bit further forward. Nice protective covering there now. So anybody driving along here will not drive over the egg. Doesn't seem as particularly well hidden as some of the other ground-dwelling birds' eggs. Right, so let's drive a little bit further forward. Both the adults went running in here somewhere. It's a big egg, that. Now, I believe you could hear the little peeping noise of perhaps the little baby chick. Keep an eye out here, Tebs. Drive very slowly. We obviously don't want to run it over, but I think you'll find it's probably moving at a great speed already. up here and stop and have a listen. They may have gone down towards the water, of course. Let's just look carefully amongst the trees here. I don't see anything in the way of a small thickening. Now, Edwin, you are a new viewer on YouTube, and you're wondering where in South Africa we are. There's the pickle there. As I started, the engine's gone down into the gap there. So we'll try and drive to the edge and see. Edwin, we are in the northeastern section of South Africa called the Lowveld. We lie sort of between 500 and 800 meters above sea level, so very low down. And the Kruger National Park is the most iconic thing that you might have heard of. Huge national park, and we're on a sort of private reserve to the south of to the west of the park. Good question, Edwin. All right, the Dickel went, at least the Thickney went running down here. Anyway, we'll go back down towards the water. Wonderful to have you with us. You're also a new viewer, and you want to know how big the reserve is that we're on. Well, that's not as simple an answer as you think it might be. The Greater Kruger National Park, or no, so I'm going to go from most enormous to down to zoom into where we are now. So we're in an enormous sort of transfrontier park, which means it goes across 3 countries, called the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. Now, the Kruger National Park is the South African section of that, and the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park is 8 million acres. The Kruger National Park is 3.5 million acres, and then we're in a little place called the Sabi Sands, which is to the western side of that area. It's all unfenced, so there are no fences between any of these places that I'm mentioning now. The Sabi Sands is, if I multiply it correctly, about 150,000 acres, and then we're on a little section of that, about 6,000 acres here in this sort of western fringes. There's some buffalo there, and I'm just carefully we'll come back and have a look at them. This dam, by the way, has dried out for the first time in 20 years. It has not been this devoid of water for 20 years. Isn't that amazing? I'm really putting Tibbs through the ringer here by making him change the angle while we're moving. We're just going to nip a little bit around the corner here and see if we can't find that Thickney. I definitely saw the adult running down here. Whether she was with a little chick or not, I don't know. Perhaps you can't see a little Thickney, can you? Watching from the Netherlands. That's marvelous news. And Edwin, you say you've been to South Africa. You've been to Addo, which is in the Eastern Cape, very lovely reserve, and to Hluhluwe Umfolozi in KwaZulu-Natal, which is another province of South Africa, everybody. And Edwin, you want to know if there are any warthogs here. There are warthogs, not many, but there are around. So I'm going to leave this parent to itself, and we will monitor that other egg as the days go by. Marvellous. We're glad to have seen that. Sad not to have seen the nestling, but I'm glad the nestling's not there, because I think it probably means it's moving. I hope it doesn't. I think it's pretty sure that it hasn't been eaten, because I think the egg would have been eaten as well then. Now, there's something quite interesting about this bucket. Too upset, chaps. This buffalo here, just over my sort of right shoulder, the middle one there, Tibbs, is very old. And you can see that he's losing condition. In fact, all of these chaps don't look in great condition, but he's in the worst. You can see how skinny he is. His hip bones sticking out. And I think most of his mass at the moment is made up of mud. They will really enjoy this mud. But not as much as they would have enjoyed it if there'd been a bit of water that they could have drunk as well. Buffalo do need to drink all the time. So it just gives you an idea again of how dry things have got. And it's the first time in 20 years that this waterhole has dried up. Quite astonishing. Alrighty, let us continue on our merry quest. We're going to head off to the south now, or south along the sort of border of the reserve, see if anything hasn't crossed in. I know there was some cheetah quite close by this morning, and so with any luck they've come this way. I don't think they have, but maybe they have, so we'll go along and check that out. Jonathan, you're in New Jersey. Sorry about that, everybody. We did go through a little dip, which is commonly not very good for Wendy, and so that's why you're the picture. Jonathan in New Jersey, you're a new viewer. Great stuff. Welcome. Lovely to have you on board. And you want to know how to go on a tour like this. Well, you can't really do exactly what I'm doing unless you become a cameraman like Ted. So in which case you can. But there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of options for different safaris in South Africa, in East Africa, in Botswana, in I'm going to try and fix the aerial here. I think it's come loose, so I'm going to quickly screw it in. I'll just see if that doesn't make a difference to whether...
You never know what's going to be around the next corner. And as we've come across the next corner, there's probably about 300-400 buffalo spread out through the area here. I'm going to try and catch up with the main body of the herd. Hello, buffaloes. So unlike the old bulls we normally see, this will be a mix of females, calves, and your prime bulls, your mating bulls who are fighting for mating rights. And quite often, when you find a nice herd of buffalo, sometimes lions on the tail. They are spread out over a vast distance. Some of them giving us the hairy eyeball. 1,000-yard stare. Looking at us like we owe them money. The males tend to seem to have got that look down a bit better than the females, although the females can be quite intimidating when they stare at you as well. We've parked up. I think quite a lot of the herd's already passed this area. We're sort of towards the end of the herd.
1818.
So Jonathan, our new viewer, who already loves us, we love you too, Jonathan, would like to know how would he go on a safari like this? What I would recommend is you do a bit of research online, depending on your budgets and where you want to go. There's lots of different safari options in South Africa, in this area in particular, Djuma and Arathusa, where we operate being two of them. But if you're not sure and you don't have a lot of time, I would recommend contacting a safari expert. You have that lowing, very similar to cattle. Oxpecker in the ear. Now sitting on her boss. Bulk grazers, very important animal in the bush, these big herds. They come through, they keep the grass short, and they also fertilize on the move. It's going to be interesting to see tomorrow morning if the lions are on the trail of these buffalo. I mean, we're literally surrounded by them now. All the way around. So it looks like we're towards the end of the herd. There we go, Andrew can show you all the way around us. Buffalo everywhere. Move a bit closer to some of them again. On YouTube would like to know where the Birmingham boys are. They are to the east of us, sleeping off 3 buffalo that they managed to catch. There's always to keep a lookout for yellow-billed oxpeckers when you're around a nice big herd of buffalo. Wattled starlings here as well. Look at that one's nose, a little pink spot on her nose. Oh, off she goes. So buffalo have to drink daily, and these big herds will often move quite big distances between grazing and a spot to drink. There's a little boy in the road in front of us. view. Bit of a sunset behind those buffalo that are moving behind us. Whoops, sorry, Andrew. Here we go. Cloud banks moved in, so not the most spectacular African sunset, but spectacular because it's full of the largest of the cattle species we get. Big buffalo bull can weigh up to around 900 kilograms, normally closer to sort of 700. Formidable beasts. Even for an animal like a lion, they can injure them while they're being hunted. Sometimes they do rush to the defense of each other when lions are about. The vast majority of the animals are either females or young, and not near that many big bulls, but there are quite a few big bulls, and they form the defense of the herd. And this little boy closest to us here, sniff sniff, coming really close, giving us a good sniffing. So what happens is, I think they're probably going to look for a spot where they're going to lie down somewhere quite close to here, and where they will ruminate overnight. Oh, another little boy walking past right in front of us. Hello, little one. Oh, some nice grass view there. Some Digitaria, finger grass. Slight problem here. Oh, there we go. The vehicle decided not to start for a bit there. So Fiona, who's in the UK, is wondering, have we seen any little buffalo calves? Fiona, buffalo breed throughout the year, so we have seen lots of buffalo calves this year. I haven't seen any particularly small ones in this herd just yet, but maybe if we catch up with the front runners, we might see some. So they're actually very spread out. I said there's probably 300, 400 odd buffalo here. They are very spread out. They become into these really tight groups when lions are about, so it doesn't look like they've been trailed by lions too much. Sorry about the rattle, it's my gear knobby thing is coming loose. Trying to see if I can spot any very small calves. None yet. You seeing any tiny babies yet, Andrew?
Negative, just one medium-sized bull.
Medium-sized little babies. I'm sure there's one or two midgets in here somewhere. But if we drove through the thick bush after them, they would run off crashing. There's still a few more heading out towards us. Or at least it's Archer's first time this time. So, talking about tiny baby little things, James has got one of the most succulent little babies in the bush if you're a leopard.
Come in. Me come in. Okay. All right. We're live. Sorry, apparently we're live, everybody. Hello. I've obviously unplugged myself. No, I haven't unplugged myself. Don't know what's going on. There we go. 2 pigs, tiny little pigs, and a Volkswagen Golf. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that, whoever you are. May you have a sleepless night and be bitten by ticks. So tiny little piglets there. Very unusual. We don't see them often, and they don't kind of sit so... they're not nearly as confiding as that normally. Tabs, if the question comes through, will you let me know? Because I can hear nothing. Such sweet little pigs. We're right on the southern boundary of the reserve. Like there's a great traffic jam. Look at them. Little piglets. So sweet. Just wonderful. So we had a question, of course, all the way from the Netherlands about whether or not, I think it's Edwin in the Netherlands, about whether or not we get warthogs. Well, there you go. Things, they don't normally stand still here, which is very irritating, but now these ones are standing still, which is wonderful. Anyway, I seem to have twiddled with something, and now I can hear everybody again. What a relief. Beautiful birds in the background calling that I didn't mention. They are called grey hornbills, southern grey hornbills. Not particularly unusual, but beautiful call and totally distinct from the red-billed and yellow-billed calls. This is a really special sighting, everybody. We don't see this often at all. Got them there. Isn't that sweet? There they go into the bush. So I think we'll leave them there and continue on our merry way. Very sweet. Our plan at the moment is to head down. We're on the southern boundary now. We're going to head down here for a while, then we'll head north and we'll make our way slowly towards the hyena den and see what's happening there. Some impala in here, there's another warthog, there's some water buck. It's all happening here. We'll just ease very gently through here. There's a young water buck looking at us. Hello there. Hiding behind the bush, you can see the tawny colours, well not tawny, so russet or chestnut colours of the impala behind. Not camouflaged to our eyes, but apparently to the predator's eyes, definitely very camouflaged. Now, Joe Inc. on YouTube, you say you love boar. That wasn't strictly a boar, it was a warthog. And, I mean, we do get a similar thing to a wild boar here called a bush pig. They look a bit more like wild boar, But those are called warthogs, same family. It's just a sort of English convention that we call these ones warthogs, but same family. So yes, you could call them a hog or a boar if you wanted to. Wart boar is just a lot harder to say than warthog, of course. And boar is strictly what we'd call the males. And that was a boar, the last one we saw. Yeah, 2 waterbucks, or a lot of waterbuck, with their white toilet seat bottoms. Supposed to be some kind of a following mechanism. I'm not convinced. I'm not really sure why they have that slightly ridiculous round thing on their backsides. It's rather amusing. Heidi in Switzerland, do you want to know how many teeth a warthog has? Heidi, I've got absolutely no idea how many teeth a warthog has. And I probably should have. Oh, teats. How many teats does a warthog have? A warthog, as far as I'm aware, has got 4 teeth. Might be 6. It's 4 or 6. But I think it's 4. Teeth, I don't know. Tusks, yes, 2. Wonderful smell, those waterbuck. Very nice musky kind of smell, like a strong smelling horse. Very interesting question from Smart Redhead. Redhead, you want to know what species of animal we eat out here. Well, first of all, we're in a national park, so we don't eat anything here at the moment. But you can eat many of the species out here. Much of the bushmeat here is eminently edible. Impala is pretty good. Warthog can be. Warthog is actually delicious. Buffalo, tough as old boots. They produce lots of meat, good meat. Hippo apparently tastes pretty good. I've never eaten any hippo. Certainly elephants can be eaten. I know they used to, many, many years ago, when they culled elephants in the area, they used to can elephant meat. So that's edible too. Just about anything out here you can eat. I wouldn't eat any of the carnivores. I have tasted crocodile once when I was much, much younger. That tastes like fishy chicken, unsurprisingly. Guinea fowl you can eat. You really got to be a Michelin star chef, though, to make guinea fowl edible. It is very stringy and not particularly delicious. You can also eat mapani worms if you like. They're caterpillars. You can eat termites too. Lots of protein options out here. But the best tasting meat, if you're not squeamish, is a warthog. Yes, Rich King, I have had a roasted warthog. And I think you've had some, you said, on a Kenyan safari. Roast warthog is very delicious indeed. Sorry, that's Gooberwalla, another magnificent Twitter handle. We're, of course, now everybody is vying for the position of second best Twitter handle in the world. First best being the one that we heard yesterday, which was James Henry Fab. That is the best Twitter handle in the world. So the rest of you are trying to compete for second best, and Gooberwalla, you must be coming pretty close. Name like that. You may speak. Oh, the guinea fowl. That's what we were just talking about. Everybody, Tebs has just spotted some guinea fowl, and we were just talking about them, and they're generally fairly foul taste. There they are. Fascinating little birds. That's the helmeted guinea fowl. You can see the little sort of blue head they have with the helmet on top, and they're in the reserve next door to us. I'm afraid we can't go there, but we can see them. Well spotted, Tebs. Good job. And just to reiterate, everybody, it is Tebs' birthday today. He's 27. That makes you the youngest member of the team, doesn't it, Tibbs?
Yeah.
Look how sweet they are. Hello, Mia, aged just 6 years old. You want to know if warthogs are born with tusks? Mia, they are not born with tusks in the same way that you were not born with teeth. Because you were not Richard III. Mia, what they are born with, though, is hair that looks like tusks, and it's quite clever. To make predators. Just greeting Andrew there. Sorry about the lack of picture. Wendy is really being very naughty today. Mia, warthogs are not born with tusks, but they are born with hair that looks like tusks. And that's quite clever because it makes predators think, oh, we better not go there because they've got tusks. They could hurt us. They could harm us. They couldn't really. That hair kind of disguises the fact that they have tusks. And tusks are these teeth here, the canines, the vampire teeth, and they grow very slowly, you see, and that's why they have to be born with hair there, so that the predators think that they've got tusks. It's very clever, Mia. So we're now right on the southern boundary of the reserve. Safari, do you want to know if we're not hunting animals around here, what do we eat out here? Safari, we hardly eat anything, you know. It's normally sort of bread and water once a week. I'm not sure how much of that you got. We eat very well here, Safari D. Roast pork tonight, delicious stuff for Ted's birthday. Let's head across to Brent and see what he's doing in Arathusa.
So that cloud bank is dissipated and we're being bathed in glorious evening light. And we're just checking around the western edge of quarantine, because you never know when Queen Karula might pop up. Beautiful, beautiful light. Now we just need to find some animals in it. Watch out there, Andrew. Smart redhead in Ohio is asking, are male and female buffalo horns shaped differently? Most definitely. They are. The males have that big, thick boss in the middle, whereas the females don't. She said she's noticed some curve and others go up. The ones that are going up are young or sub-adult animals. Fortunately, I was hoping there might be some impala. some wildebeest or zebra in this beautiful light? Unfortunately, not. Jonathan, who's a new viewer from today, from New Jersey, would like to know, do buffaloes produce milk? They do, Jonathan. They are a mammal, so that's all mammals, us included, produce milk. And that's, not the male, but the females all have mammary glands, and that's what produces milk. I think it's go the other way, Andrew. I've got a hunch. Hello, Ryan. Ryan would like to know, how often do we encounter venomous creatures out here? Is it often enough that we have to be alert? Well, Ryan, most venomous creatures are far more scared of us than we are of them and tend to steer clear. But living in the bush, it always pays to be alert. You do come across snakes and scorpions and spiders that all can do you some damage relatively often. Scorpion, probably we see the most. And spiders, but most of them are, although creating a very painful sting, not much more than that. It's not really going to end your life. Obviously, you have to be careful with snakes. We see mambas, spitting cobras, worm slings relatively often. I just want to go check the Gallagher waterhole this time of the evening. Who knows, maybe the Queen decided to grace us with her presence. For our new viewers who might not know who the Queen is, it is Queen Karula, the dominant female leopard in this area. This area around our camps and the Juma lodges. She does spend a lot of time here, so I'm hoping she has managed to sneak through. We've missed her tracks and she's in the area. I know James was following up on alarm calls around there earlier, so you never know. Maybe she is hiding from James, but would like to reveal herself to me. You guys are wondering whether there's going to be a fireside chat this evening. There shall not be. At this time of the year, we're on a skeleton crew, and it becomes even more skeletal next week. So, unfortunately, we'll be extending ourselves too much over this period. It's only for a short while, and while people are off seeing their loved ones over the festive season. But there will be no fireside chat this evening. close to Christmas time, as I said, and that's one of the reasons we are on the Skeleton Crew. And James Bear in Kansas City would like to know, are there any interesting customs that we celebrate out here during Christmas as opposed to what you would do in the Northern Hemisphere or in the States? Well, one of the big differences, James, is our Christmas parties generally, or Christmas lunch, etc., tend to be pool parties in this part of the world. This is our hottest time of the year. We tend to gravitate to barbecues and sitting outside. But in terms of what we do and whatnot, it is very similar. There's Scott and his friends up to nonsense, I'm sure, misbehaving. You can just see Scott's got a naughty look on his face. Very naughty man, this man. I think Scott's thinking the same as me, that Queen Karula might be popping up here. So, hello, Scotty.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Andrew. Hello, everyone.
Hello. What are you doing here, Scott? This is my spot at this time of day. Ah, see, Scott.
Or whatever was the alarm call, caused the alarm calls with the Inyala that James was responding to.
See, Scott and I were thinking of exactly the same plan, but unfortunately, what we found was a bearded wonder boy and no leopard. So we're going to continue on. I think I've got one more spot where I might be able to produce something.
I'm sure you will.
Have
Good
a
luck,
wonderful
everyone.
evening.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Brent.
Well, they say great minds think alike. Go ahead. James on the radio. I'm doing Gallagher shortcut past the Gallagher Warthog, and then I'm going to do Buffalo's Hook to Sydney's. I'm hoping that those wild dogs decide to move west, or southwest. As I said a bit earlier, those who might have missed it, there is a pack of wild dogs not too far from our northern boundary. And it's about the time, I think it's getting cool enough that they might start wanting to move. So Andrew and I are going to meander up towards that area. Sorry, James, back to your Christmassy question. As you can see, we don't have much snow or cold weather in these parts. So we tend to focus most of our celebrating during Christmas outdoors, around the swimming pool and the barbecue. In terms of food, probably very similar Christmas hams and turkey. Sometimes chicken instead of turkey. And James, Hendry and I will be putting our culinary skills to the test for the crew this year. As we will be producing the Christmas Eve dinner and the Christmas Day lunch. Of course, we are so good at everything, it should be a piece of cake. Don't let Andrew near the kitchen. That's one thing we don't. We don't even let him chop onions. He might chop his finger off. Very good thing. He's a really great camera operator. Very bad luck. As I thought I heard something, someone started talking on the radio on the Game Drive channel. I thought I heard a Franklin alarm call. So we're going to head up towards that northwestern corner where I hope, by all hopes, before the end of the safari, those wild dogs will come visit us, my favorite animal. An early Christmas present, you could say. But let's go to James, who's about to go see one of our other if one of our other favorite animals is at home.
Right, we're nearly at at the Hyena Den, everyone. Yes, preparing the Christmas meal, I suppose Brent and I will be doing. I'm hoping that the shop we buy it from is going to have done most of the preparation. Because if I actually have to do some cooking, well, there's really no guarantee of the result. I'm not a very good cook. In fact, I'm an appalling cook. I think Brent's pretty good though, so we should be okay. I think my job... One second, everyone. My job will be to serve the Christmas pudding and light the brandy that goes around it. That's what I would be doing if I was at home with my family. I don't know who's going to do that this year. I can guarantee you there won't be nearly as much flame as there is normally. We're just arriving at the Hyena Den. It's still very hot. Oh, no, we've got action here. Brilliant stuff. I'm going to start this side. Right, let's have a look here. There is one. Sabaralt. In fact, I'm not going to start this side. I'm going to start the other side. So the tips. I'm going to come in here with a hanger and chop a piece out of a tree. Right, before we drive, or as we drive in here, we're going to rename these things from the ones we have done before. And very cleverly, Nikki Austin came up with a nomenclature system that's going to keep us reminded of their ages. So, we're going to name them after their birthdays, or the months in which they were born. So the fluffy one, the 7-month-old is going to be called May. That's when she was born. Then the 7-week-old one. This is fascinating. So every time we get here, something else bizarre occurs. That's 2-week-old cub. That 2-week-old cub there was either greeting or suckling from the pretty mum. She's suckling. Now, they're not supposed to do that. That is absolutely incredible. All right, so while we're sitting here, we're going to have May. That was May we first saw. She's that one that, just to the left-hand side. The one on the ground there. That's the 7-month-old there. That's going to be called May from this day forth. Right. Then the 7-week-old cub, which was born 7 weeks ago, obviously, we're going to call October. So are we? Yes. No, we're not. We're going to call November. She was born beginning of November, so that's going to be November. And then we're going to have December 1 and December 2 being the twins. Then the adults we will call Pretty. There she is. She's the one standing there. And we'll call the one lying, the dominant female there, lying there, the matriarch. We think maybe the matriarch. She's going to be called Manky, which is a good name for something that looks like she does. All right, so we've got May, November, December 1, December 2, Manky, and Pretty. So what's going on here is fascinating. See, Pretty is now trying to push one of the December cubs out of the way because the December cub is trying to suckle from her. Now, you will read in books that doesn't happen. There she is, suckling from a hyena that is not her mother. I really think you could spend all day here and learn some fascinating things every single time. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to reposition slightly so that we can get the left-hand nose of the car a little bit closer and shoot a little bit for this virtual reality rig that we have here. so confiding with us now. Closer. That's it there. Perfect. Right, the 7 cameras are now recording. Start the sound. Oh, click. That clicking noise you're going to hear is me just syncing everything. And here we are. Now, interestingly, sorry, Tips, can you go down to May on the ground there? Look how fat her belly is. I think she's had something to eat today. Definitely looking very full indeed. So somebody probably brought something back for her. Her mother has got a very scarred back. So we'd call her Scarback if we see her, but she doesn't seem to be around here anywhere. And I haven't seen her for a long time. Again, December 1, feeding from Pretty, which is just bizarre. And Pretty will be very careful about creating too much biting there on that young cub, because she is definitely subordinate to the female lying in the entrance hole. It just changes every time we come here. There's something fascinating going on. And just to reiterate, if you perhaps weren't watching this morning, yesterday I remained convinced that we only had one of these 2 twins around. And because we hadn't seen them together here. Last time we saw them together was about a week ago, in fact more than a week ago, at the other den on Philemon's Dip, and now they have both arrived here. It's the first time we'd seen them. I was convinced that there was only one here, and then Inga sent through 2 photographs of 2 very different looking cubs, and I couldn't understand it. But what we were seeing was one and then the other, one and then the other. So both of the twins are here, and we've got the 7-week-old one, now called November. And she's inside and doesn't want to come out now because the domineering female is right in the entrance there, possibly feeding her most dominant cub. I think we'll just sit here and see what happens. I think it's just too fascinating, and well as being extremely cute, watching what's going on here. I'm not sure if we're copying the final control or not. I may have turned them down by mistake. Look, now they're both trying to suckle in their mother. Ah, yes. No, I had to turn them down. Oh, I'm copying them. The mother not making a huge effort there to get into any kind of position where the cubs can easily suckle from her. Now, Gail, you're in Calgary in Canada, where I've no doubt it's freezing cold. The only reason I know where Calgary is because you had the Winter Olympics there at one stage, I think, many moons ago. Gail, you want to know who the mother of May is. May's mother is the scar-backed female, and I haven't seen her for a long time. That's not surprising. May will hang around the den here until she's about 8 or 9 months old, and then she'll start to move with the clan. And I suspect her mother probably brought something back for her to eat, and that's why she's so fat now. There were 3 adults here this morning, one of whom looked like a very pregnant female. Amazing stuff going on here. Now, Wingnut, you're in Lancaster. I don't want you to be confused by the hyenas. I think we're all slightly confused, but I think we're starting to get a handle on things now. Remember, highly matriarchal society. The one in front there is the most dominant that we can see, that we know of. She's got twins. The one behind is the pretty mother, also very hot, obviously. She's got 1 cub, now known as November. She is slightly lower ranking than this female, there's no question about that, but much higher ranking than the very subordinate female that was around here this morning. And you can just tell that by the way they react to each other. That subordinate female would run away every time these two stood up, and she was playing with May, who's now fast asleep. And May and she were getting on famously, but I suspect it was just kind of play behavior, because I think May's mother is also very dominant, but I don't know where she would fit into this hierarchy that we can currently see. So Wingnut, fear not, we're all relatively confused, but we're all learning something new about these incredible animals every day. Like you say, just wonderful things. This morning was the first time we'd seen all 3 of these cubs. Well, a completely unanswerable question here, I'm afraid, but very interesting. Safari Dean, you want to know if hyenas or any other animals suffer from something like we do, humans do, postpartum depression? I really don't think we understand. Listen to that. I really don't think we understand them sufficiently to be able to say. Safari Dean, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure, I don't know much about it in humans, so I'm not sure what the hormonal causes of it are, but I imagine if they are hormonal, which I think they are, I imagine the same sort of hormones will probably be, going up and down in most mammals. So perhaps there is a form of postpartum depression for all mammals. I'm just going to resync the Mark in Bonnie, Scotland. Do you want to know how often the hyenas are likely to move their den? Mark, I thought it was every 4 or 5 weeks, but these chaps have now been here for sort of 6 weeks, I think. And have they been there that long? Maybe not quite that long. They've probably been here about a month, and I would have thought sort of 4 to 5 to 6 weeks they would move every so often. I know they have a number of dens around this place. They came here for a while, then they evacuated here and came back again about 2 months later. So, Mark, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's wait and see. Let's put it at 4 weeks here, and let's wait and see when they leave this den. I think it does depend on the amount of threat that there is, the amount of hygiene. Now, this is a very busy den. There are lots of cubs here, obviously defecating, going to the loo all over the place. So the chances of disease increasing around here are very high, and maybe they will move in the next week or so. Mankey and her 2 twins have only been here for about a week, though. Look at those teeth. What a vicious set of gnashes. So, Tiki, a very good question. We were watching these 2-week-olds trying to suckle from Pretty, and we want to know, you want to know, surely if she didn't want them to suckle from her, she could just lie down or move. Well, it's exactly what she did, she lay down the wrong way, and then when one of them came up again, she kind of pushed her straight into the hole. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct, doesn't have to tolerate it, and is to a large extent is not tolerating it. And she's now, I think, trying to call her cub out. She's trying to call November out. November is definitely very reticent about coming out when Mankey is around with December 1 and 2. Look at that. Heading off around the mound there. The competition for the second best Twitter handle in the world has just been won, hands down, by somebody with the Twitter handle Brent Leo Smith's Boots. All I can say is, while it's an amazing Twitter handle, I don't know what this female is doing, but we'll watch her. She's straight behind us now. While that is an amazing Twitter handle, it's not one that you should perhaps be proud of. You don't want to go anywhere near Brent Leo Smith's Boots. In fact, I'm so astounded by your Twitter handle that I've forgotten what your question was. So we'll just get it through again. So Joyce in Pennsylvania, you want to know why Pretty is drooling? I don't know. I think it's probably because they've just eaten. There's some food around here. She's looking pretty full. So is May, obviously. Anyway, let's just try and get the question again for Brent Leo Smith's Boots. So, Brent Leo Smith Boots, you want to know if the cub will get any milk from Pretty. Oh, I've made a mistake. There is May. May has just walked into picture. That is not May. That's another sub-adult there. She's not going to get a name. That's about an 8-month-old. Not an 8-month-old, about a 10-month-old. They're 2 months older than May. Goodness gracious. So they're going to have to be called March. So we've got March, May, heavens above. March and May, Pretty and Mankey, December 1, December 2, and November. Phew. It's become absolutely fascinating. Right, so quickly, let's head across to some more suckling. No Brent Leo Smith's Boots, I don't think that she will give them milk, but if they do get hold of a teeth, yes, they will give them milk. Let's go across to Brent. He's also got some suckling going on.
Oh, unfortunately, that impala female decided to move, and the suckling is over, but we're with that beautiful big herd of impala. We can get a little bit closer. Lots of little babies. The most numerous antelope in Africa. It's incredibly successful species. Incredibly well designed. I know a lot of the regular viewers will know it, but for the new viewers, these guys have been unchanged for 1.6 million years. They have had no need to evolve further. They are perfect. They're going to head out from this slightly broken bush to a slightly more open area where they'll rest up for the evening. A lot of animals choose to rest in open areas because it's a better chance for them to spot a potential predator sneaking up on them. imps. Donna in South Carolina would like to know what James and I are planning on cooking for Christmas Eve dinner. Well, I think both of us are quite partial to baby impala. No, I'm only joking. We're not going to be cooking any baby impala. We'll leave those for Karula for Christmas Eve dinner. We'll be probably, I think we're doing chicken and ham for Christmas Eve dinner. And lots of it so we don't have to cook for Christmas lunch. Ha 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 ha. But I think Christmas lunch we'll have around the pool. It's probably going to be 105 degrees Fahrenheit on Christmas Day. Dan seems to think Andrew should be the official dishwasher for after Christmas dinner. Andrew, do you think you should do the dishes? Andrew says he'll do the dishes. So there we go. Thank you, Andrew. So we're going to leave these in parlour. Let's go back to see what's happening at the hyena den.
Right, so we have not moved, but some of the hyenas have, and Pretty's gone around the other side. Mankey is here, sleeping with her backside into the den, which is probably a little intimidating for November. And round the other side is also May. So not much going on here at the moment. We'll sit here for a few more minutes, and then we'll see. Here comes Pretty. Now, she's been walking around, smelling. She walked around the vehicle twice. So I don't know what's creating kind of a bit of consternation for her. Trying to call her cub out. But unfortunately, the fat lump that is Mankey, the ugliest hyena in the world, is blocking the den. An amazing sound. Another one of these great questions that's very difficult to answer, and those are the best kind. Kathy, in Tennessee, you want to say, you say that you're surprised that these two lactating females aren't fighting, and can I explain that? Kathy, I'm not really sure why they should fight. Certainly there's a hierarchy in the hyena clans that is very definite and undisputed, and so, I mean, were there to be any conflict, there's no question who would come out on top. The Mankey mother would definitely come out on top unless she was old and decrepit and injured, which she isn't. But I can't really think of any mammals that fight simply because the females are lactating at the same time. In fact, I've always sort of thought of it as being quite the opposite. So if you can think of an example, let me know, and then let's try and unpack it together. The all is now going into that wonderful evening peace. There are a couple of grasshoppers stridulating around the tree, around the termite mound here. You can hear them going. In fact, there's probably cicadas, different species of cicadas. Some other ones going very high above us. A couple of francolins way in the distance calling their last call for the day. And Teb, sorry, can you just have a look at these two nests that are dolefully mournful nests? And probably a very inexperienced male weaver came and built those two nests hoping to attract himself a little family there, and they were obviously both rejected. then normally it's a southern masked weaver. Normally the southern masked weaver will nest with other southern masked weavers. And this one decided to build his nest here above a hyena den, which is, well, I mean, right above the hole there, probably not the most best-smelling location. And 2 females came to observe his efforts, rejected them, and now they stand there as a testament to his failed attempts to seduce a family for this year. Hopefully he's found himself a decent colony, and he's now, maybe, he's found himself a little wife for the season. Very quiet here. I don't think we're going to spend another 2 or 3 minutes here. I'm not sure if the final control is trying to talk to me or not. It's really difficult with these radios these days to know what's going on. Oh, she's almost in the hole now. We had a few questions yesterday about whether or not the adults would take refuge in the hole, and the answer is no, but clearly they will stick their backsides in if they feel the need. Get out of it. Smelly animal. Move out the way so that November can come and eat. Oh, she's got another injury on her. Well spotted, Tibbs. It's bizarre. Right. Look at her. A nasty injury there. But she really is a doleful-looking creature. Right, now look there. As soon as she's moved away, look who's come out. Look who's come out. It's little November. Or is it? Yes, it is. It is indeed. Look. See the spotting? So at 7 weeks, at 6 weeks they start to get the spots, or 5 weeks, and she's now got quite a lot of spotting down her neck. And look how happy she is. Look how incredibly happy she is that that manky, disgusting thing has moved away. Oh, sweet man. So excited to see Mum. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Wingnut, you worried about November never coming out and getting enough to eat? Wingnut, don't worry. This is totally normal. The calling's normal. All the behavior here is entirely normal, entirely consistent. And certainly, old November there looks to be in very fine fettle indeed. She doesn't look to be thin at all, and I'm sure she's getting enough to eat. And if she was that starving, she'd have rushed straight for the teat, which she hasn't done. She just wants to come out and have a nice play. It's so sweet. Mike, an interesting one in Florida. You say, what makes hyena's milk some of the most nutritional that there is? I wasn't aware that it was the most nutritional, but that said, Mike, if it is, they do have incredibly efficient digestive systems, and I know that one of the major reasons they invest so heavily in that digestive system is that if you're a low-ranking female, you can't bring food back to the den because higher-ranking females will just steal it from you and feed it to their own cubs. So if you're a low-ranking female, you need to be able to convert food that you find into milk quickly and efficiently so that you can bring it back to the den and feed it to your babies in the form of milk. And I suspect if their milk is that much more nutritious than any of the other predators, that will be the reason why. Nice question. Thanks, Mike. All the way in Florida. So nice to see little November out now having a bit of a suckle. Just seems to me like order has been restored with the departure of Mankey. And it must be a bit like, you know, you set up a little home with your children, and then suddenly some extremely aggressive, foul-smelling human just moves in with her two aggressive children. And it wouldn't be surprising if your own kid went and hid itself in its own room, didn't come out until the smelly one and her children had vacated the premises. That's exactly what's going on here. How big. So lots of questions about the fascinating social structure that hyenas have. And Rebecca, you want to know about the twin situation and would they have the same social structure or status being twins? Rebecca, they absolutely would have the same social status. Remember, they inherit their mother's social status. Now, what I suspect is that, well, what we do know is that if there are two females born, especially to a high-ranking female, one will kill the other. So what we can infer from the fact that there are two cubs here is that one of them at least is a male. They might both be male. In fact, that's my sort of gut feel, is that they're both males. And they will inherit their mother's status to a point, but once they're adult males, they will be dominated completely by all the females within the clan. So the fact that they're twins doesn't actually make any difference to their social standing within the clan. They cannot both be females, or it's highly, highly unlikely that they're both females, because one would have killed the other. So, Rebecca, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please feel free to send through another and tell me to buck up my act. Right, let's head back to Brent Leo Smith, see what he's got for you. I'm going to sit here probably to the end of the drive, and I'll see you shortly.
So we're back at the Gallagher shortcut waterhole, hoping for a last-minute leopard, but alas, she has not decided to grace us with her presence. So I'm sure you're tired of seeing my ugly mug. So let's go back to James and the hyenas, and we'll see you bright and early for the sunrise safari.
Well, Brent didn't take his time over that. Tebs and I were just having a bit of a stretch, and now we're back. That's wonderful. And we'll just spend the last few minutes with this precious little cub and her mother. I'm not going to move from here. Again, we don't want to disturb them as it gets dark. And the picture that you are seeing is a lot lighter than it is actually. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we hit the summer solstice in 2 days' time. I cannot believe that that's the case. Ivy in New Jersey, you think Mankey's name should be Cork because she's always plugging up the hole there. Oh, maybe it should. That's quite a very nice suggestion. Thanks, Ivy. You can see the light starting to fade now. And Pretty is looking around carefully, just seeing what's going on, seeing if maybe Mankey's coming back. Hoping, I've no doubt against hope, that she won't come back for the next little while, but knowing that she will eventually, because her two cubs are in the hole there. It's just so peaceful now around here. A little bit of a moon. That thunderstorm that we hoped was going to be here has definitely not going to be here now, as is the case in a drought year. There is the moon, the waxing moon. It's now just over half. It'll be pretty close to full, I imagine, on Christmas. Seems to be nice serendipity around that. Whether there is or not, I don't know. flicking off the flies. Now, Philip, a very nice comment. Apparently, well, you say it doesn't surprise you that hyenas have the strongest bite of all mammals, given how big their teeth are. Apparently they don't. Apparently the jaguar, Philip, in South America has an even more powerful bite than the hyena, if you can believe it. I think that's astonishing. Now, I'm just going to try and remember my numbers here. Apparently a human being has a bite force of about 150 psi, or pounds per square inch. I think a hyena sits at about 850 pounds per square inch. The biggest, I believe, of any animal is an orca, a killer whale. And I believe their bite sits at about 16,000 pounds per square inch. And I think a jaguar is just higher than a hyena's. Now, you know, how accurate those measurements are is anyone's guess. And I think there's probably quite a lot of estimation in that. So wonderful information from Raisa, who always sends through little gems. Raisa, you say you read a study where it showed that the hyena's skull is not completely formed until they're 3 years old, and therefore those big jaw muscles which would need to be attached to the sagittal crest on the skull are not fully functional until about 3 years old. And Raisa, you say that's why one of the reasons they suckle for more than a year. Yeah, I'm sure that is absolutely the case. But certainly, though, why they won't be eating bones before they're 3, maybe they will certainly be eating a lot of meat before then. Now there you can hear a white-browed scrub robin, and that white-browed scrub robin has come here specially. I ordered him in order to sing happy birthday to Tebs. Yeah, Tebs, isn't that nice? That's much nicer than the song we gave you today. And lots of you, thank you very much for wishing Tebs a very happy birthday. I think he's had a good birthday, other than the blinding heat, of course, that it's been in. It's normally from Johannesburg, of course, where the heat is not so hot. Did you spend the summer in the Kalahari?
Winter.
Winter, yeah. All right, everybody, that's it from us today. We're going to leave these hyenas to their peace. Thanks, Tebs, on your birthday for all your work today. Big thank you to Louise and Nikki in the final control. Of course, a thank you to Brent Smith, the inimitable and the irascible, he of the smelly boot, and Andrew, who was filming him today, and Scott for his unfortunately fruitless tracking exercise. We will see you in the morning on the Sunrise Safari. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.